Allow me to invite you on a mysterious journey that reaches back not just through centuries, but through millennia, to the very essence of our existence. Today we will speak about reincarnation, that very phenomenon many have only heard of in mystical films or folktales of the East. But what if it's much closer than we tend to believe? What if our entire life is far deeper, more intricate, and more astonishing than we have ever been shown? Have you ever felt that a certain place seems familiar to you from childhood, even though you've never been there? That a fleeting glance, a gesture, or even the intonation of a complete stranger touches a dormant string of your soul, as if you've seen and known it long ago, in another time? Perhaps there are traits in your character that are hard to explain by upbringing, habits, or environment. Why are we drawn to certain interests, cultures, and traditions, even though there's no logical path leading us to them? Why is it that children, still almost untouched by the habits of adults, sometimes tell stories that can only be explained as memories from times they could not possibly have witnessed? Why do we sometimes meet people who become closer to us in a single minute than anyone else over an entire lifetime? All these questions, unexpected hunches, and unexplainable occurrences begin in a corner of our existence about which humanity has remained silent for far too long. And perhaps that is exactly why the topic of reincarnation was hidden, shaded over, and concealed behind a veil of silence for 2,000 years. But why? You will never hear about this in your school curriculum. It's not discussed at official family gatherings, nor written in history textbooks. And yet every world culture, whether secretly or openly, has carried within it the idea of life after life, of transition, of eternal return, sometimes under the dense shroud of parables, sometimes openly and directly. Doesn't it seem strange to you that most of us are afraid of death from an early age and, as we grow up, learn not to think about it at all? It's all because the fear of the unknown is one of the most powerful tools for controlling people. If a person doesn't know who they truly are, what unfathomable depth their thoughts and feelings conceal, if they have no idea that their life is far from their first spark in a chain of eternity, they are remarkably easy to control. Take a moment to consider, who benefits from hiding the truth that death does not exist, that we await only a passage, a change of scenery, that the lessons of one life echo in another, that we meet those with whom we have already intertwined destinies in ages past? Perhaps that is precisely why reincarnation is not commonly discussed, and knowledge of past lives has been banished from the core doctrines of many modern religions. Think about it yourself. If people knew that they were not acting for the first time, that their choices shaped them for centuries, that their joys and sorrows are links in a chain of the soul's experiments, how much would the world change? Wouldn't we become more responsible, more attentive to our words, actions, and desires? Might we stop fearing death as an ending? They say that the truth lies right in the palm of each person's hand. All you need is to stop blindly listening to others' spells and remember your dreams, your secret desires, your strange attractions, all those things that can't be explained here and now, but might actually be memories of your distant self, gazing through the ages. People knew about reincarnation long before the rise of vast states, new religions, and rigid rules. There were times, yes, there were, when even within the Christian tradition, speaking about the return of souls, about rebirth, and the cycle of destinies wasn't something to fear. It's just that this fact became so inconvenient for those in power that it was safely hidden behind an impregnable wall of prohibitions and new dogmas. It is simply too dangerous to think of yourself as an immortal being. Far too difficult to keep within bounds someone who knows the path does not end at the edge of the visible. Perhaps you are the one who has felt that strange sensation, as if you are living more than one life. Maybe your fears, your peculiar talents, are not the result of upbringing, but the fruit of your soul's journeys through centuries. How can we explain those flashes of recognition when meeting someone? That instant love, that deep hatred, the same mistakes repeated from life to life, all of it can be read on the secret pages of fate. Reincarnation is not a frightening invention of the desperate, but a genuine magic that perhaps one day will bring each of us home. Ask yourself, what do you want from your life right now? If you know, it's not your last. Maybe it's time to remember, to catch your inner light, to do something truly important for yourself so that when the next round comes, your soul will not regret missed opportunities. Remember, for thousands of years we've been told that a person is merely a guest in this world and that very little depends on them. But if you look deeper, we are not guests, but artists creating the patterns of our destinies across centuries. That's exactly why the topic of reincarnation was hidden, tucked away in the vaults of ancient manuscripts, whispered by wanderers at night in small circles. This knowledge gives each of us a wild and wonderful power, which terrifies those who are accustomed to darkness. You are not required to blindly believe what's said here. In fact, it's impossible to believe, unless something inside you responds with a familiar echo. Just listen. If something stirs within you, then your time has come to seek your own answers. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to return to where your intuition once came from. Don't hesitate to search for your former self in beloved cities, fleeting memories, puzzling dreams, or sudden revelations. Reincarnation is not just a myth or a pretty theory. It's a doorway. Whether you are ready to try opening it yourself, only you can decide. The world is far vaster than the pictures painted for us long ago. It's time to see it with your true eyes.